Did you know that nearly 80% of adults will contract HPV at some point in their lives? It's wild to think about, right? Yet, most people don't even know they have it. Why? Because this tricky little virus often hides in plain sight, showing no symptoms until it's already caused some serious damage. Imagine walking around with a silent threat to your health and well-being, completely unaware. It's not just a women's health issue either. HPV doesn't discriminate, and it's time we stop acting like it does. Think about this. For women, it's the leading cause of cervical cancer, a diagnosis that turns their world upside down. For men, it can lead to rare but life-altering cancers like penile and anal cancer. And let's not forget the silent infections that spread like wildfire without anyone realizing. Scary, isn't it? But here's the good news, this doesn't have to be your story. By understanding how HPV works, how it's transmitted, what signs to look out for, and how to protect yourself, you can take charge of your health and quality of life. It's not about fear, it's about empowerment. Prevention, early detection, and small, mindful changes can make all the difference in staying ahead of this virus. Stick with me, and by the end of this journey, you'll know how to safeguard your immunity, overall health, and peace of mind. No more second-guessing or wondering what you could have done differently. Ready? Let's dive in. Human papillomavirus, or HPV, is a sneaky little virus that's more common than most people realize. It's not just one virus, it's a whole family of over 100 types. Some are relatively harmless, while others can cause serious health issues like cervical cancer or genital warts. The tricky part? HPV is primarily spread through skin-to-skin contact, which means you don't even need full-on sexual intercourse to contract it. Imagine how easy it is for something so small to spread so widely, kind of mind-blowing, right? Now, here's the thing, HPV doesn't play favorites, but it does show up differently in men and women. Women often discover it through routine pap smears, while men might not know they have it until visible symptoms like genital warts appear. This difference in detection is why regular screenings are such a game-changer for women, but what about men? They're often left in the dark, which only adds to the cycle of silent transmission. Think about all the shared spaces where HPV can linger, locker rooms, public restrooms, or even through intimate encounters. And while condoms reduce the risk, they're not foolproof since HPV can affect areas condoms don't cover. Crazy, right? That's why vaccination is such a lifesaver. It targets the most dangerous strains, giving your immune system a fighting chance. Understanding the basics of HPV isn't just about knowledge, it's about taking control of your health and preventing future complications. Knowing how it spreads and affects different people equips you to make smarter choices for yourself and your loved ones. And speaking of effects, let's explore how HPV shows up in women and why it's so crucial to catch it early. For women, HPV often feels like a silent shadow. It's there, but you might not notice it right away. One of the first signs can be genital warts, which show up as small bumps in the genital area. They might be painless, but they're a clear signal that HPV is at play. More concerning, though, are the changes it can cause internally. That's where pap smears come in. These routine tests are like detectives, spotting abnormal cells on the cervix before they escalate into cervical cancer. Think of them as your early warning system, and skipping them? That's like ignoring the fire alarm. Ever wonder why cervical cancer is often called the silent killer? It's because most women don't realize something's wrong until it's too late. Symptoms like unusual bleeding, pelvic pain, or discharge often only appear in later stages. Imagine the heartbreak of realizing that something preventable was left unchecked. But here's the silver lining, with regular pap tests and HPV screenings, many of these issues can be caught early, long before they become life-threatening. The emotional toll of these symptoms can be just as heavy. Picture a young woman, perhaps in her 30s, juggling work and family, suddenly finding herself facing a diagnosis. It's not just her health, it's her future, her peace of mind. That's why proactive steps like vaccination and screenings are so critical. They're not just medical recommendations, they're lifelines. Understanding these symptoms isn't about creating fear, it's about empowering women to take charge of their health and well-being. And while HPV's impact on women is more commonly discussed, men aren't off the hook. Next, we'll dive into how symptoms show up in men and why awareness is just as vital for them. When it comes to men, HPV can be a silent player, but its symptoms can sometimes make a big, unwanted entrance. Genital warts are the most obvious sign, appearing as small, flesh-colored bumps in the genital area. They might be painless, but let's face it, no one wants to deal with them. More alarming, though, are the less common but serious outcomes like penile or anal cancer. These aren't things most guys think about daily, but they're very real risks. The kicker? These symptoms can take years to show up, leaving plenty of time for the virus to spread unnoticed. Unlike women, men don't have routine tests like pap smears to detect HPV, which makes early detection tricky. This is why knowing your body and being alert to changes is so important. For instance, a persistent sore in the genital area, unusual bleeding, or discomfort during bowel movements could be red flags. Ignoring these signs is like letting a leaking roof go unattended. It might not seem urgent now, but the damage can escalate quickly. The emotional side of these symptoms is equally tough. Imagine a young man discovering genital warts for the first time. The shame, confusion, and fear can feel overwhelming. It's not just about health, it's about confidence and relationships. That's why spreading awareness matters. Encouraging open conversations and promoting vaccination can go a long way in reducing stigma and protecting health and quality of life. HPV symptoms in men might not get as much attention, but they're no less significant. And the scariest part? Many infections show no symptoms at all. Next, we'll explore the challenge of silent infections and how they keep HPV in circulation, often without anyone knowing. One of the most insidious aspects of HPV is how it often goes unnoticed. For both men and women, HPV can lurk silently in the body without showing any symptoms at all. This is why it's sometimes called a silent infection. You might have it and never know. You could be living your life, feeling fine, but unknowingly passing the virus to others. It's one of the main reasons HPV is so common, and why it's often spread without people even realizing it. In fact, many people with HPV will never experience symptoms, and that's why it's crucial to take preventive measures, even if you don't think you're at risk. Regular screenings for women and vaccination for both men and women are the best ways to catch HPV before it causes more serious issues. It's like having insurance for your health. You don't always see the benefit up front, but it can save you from much bigger problems down the line. This silent nature of HPV can be especially frustrating because it's often not until something major happens, like an abnormal pap test result or a cancer diagnosis, that people realize they've had it for years. But don't wait until you're in a crisis to take action. It's about taking charge of your health and making sure that if HPV is in your body, it doesn't cause harm down the road. The silent spread of HPV makes prevention even more critical. But how can you protect yourself? Let's talk about how to fight back with vaccination, regular screenings, and safer practices. That's where the real power lies, in preventing complications and protecting your future health. When it comes to preventing the potential fallout of HPV, there's no room for hesitation. The good news? Prevention is entirely within your control. The first line of defense is the HPV vaccine, which targets the strains most likely to cause serious health issues like cervical, penile, or anal cancer. Getting vaccinated is one of the easiest yet most powerful things you can do to safeguard your future. And the earlier you do it, the better, ideally before becoming sexually active. But it's never too late, and even if you've already had exposure to HPV, the vaccine can still help protect you from other strains. Next up, regular screenings. For women, pap smears and HPV tests are lifesavers. These simple, routine tests are the best way to catch any abnormalities in the cervix before they turn into something more serious. Men don't have a similar routine test, but they can still stay vigilant by watching for symptoms like warts or unusual growths. If something seems off, don't wait, get checked. Early detection is often the difference between a minor issue and a more complicated, long-term health concern. Beyond vaccines and tests, practicing safe sex is another essential component of prevention. Using condoms can lower the risk of transmission, though, as we've discussed, it's not foolproof. But it's still a powerful tool in your health toolkit, reducing the chance of spreading the virus. Staying educated about HPV and having honest conversations with partners can also help ensure you're both on the same page about protecting each other's health. In the end, prevention and early detection are all about being proactive, making the choice to take care of your health before an issue arises. Now, armed with this knowledge, you're more prepared than ever to keep your immune system in check and your body protected. But the real question is, are you ready to take the next steps and start protecting yourself today? So, now that you've learned about HPV, how it affects both men and women, and how to take action, it's time to stop sitting on the sidelines of your health. This virus is sneaky, but the good news is, you're in control. Whether it's through vaccination, regular screenings, or just staying vigilant about any changes in your body, you have the tools to protect yourself and your loved ones. Think about it, early prevention is your best defense. It's not just about avoiding a virus, it's about ensuring a future where your health is strong and your quality of life is secure. Remember how we discussed the silent nature of HPV? The trick is, you don't have to wait for symptoms to show up to take action. Take the proactive steps today, it's a game changer. Start by talking to your doctor about the vaccine, schedule those screenings, and make sure you're on the path to a healthier, safer tomorrow. Now, don't let this moment slip away. You've got the knowledge to change your story, and all it takes is taking action. If you're serious about protecting your health and living a full, vibrant life, make the commitment today. And hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss more tips that can transform your health forever. Remember, you're not alone in this journey. Together, we're stronger, healthier, and ready to thrive.